Welcome to the 2024 Memorial Day event over at Oak Hill Dignity Memorial. It's fantastic here. So much going on, and it's a great day to honor our fallen heroes that have been out there in the military for all these great years. So sit down, enjoy a show, and enjoy a holiday. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to introduce the MC to the show. Young lady, tell us your name and your rank.
Good morning, sir. I am Lieutenant Colonel Christy Morgan, Executive Officer for the 129th Rescue Wing.
And then how did you get chosen to be MC?
I've had the honor of working with James and Carolina throughout the year for numerous volunteer opportunities, and just always happy to support these amazing community events.
That's great. We're proud to have you, and I'm glad you're here with us today, and there's a lot of good stuff going on, so stay tuned. The Mayor of Sunnyvale?
Larry Klein.
Hi, Larry. How are you doing?
Doing well today. Thank you.
My question is, what do you think Memorial Day really means for your city?
For me, and for our residents, it's a remembrance of the ultimately not forgetting those that gave their biggest, they gave their most for our country. It's a national feeling that to make sure that for those that defended our freedom, that we're not forgetting them, and making sure that we will always remember their sacrifices.
I have another special guest I want you to meet, my good friend Tara.
And good to see you, Mike. Happy Memorial Day.
Now, Tara, I can't pronounce your last name. I need help on that one, could you?
My name is Tara Sri Krishnan, and I serve on the Santa Clara County Board of Education and work in Senator Dave Cortez's office.
I know. I've known you for a long time, so this interview was really kind of pretty easy to do. But you're running for an office, aren't you?
Yes, I'm running for state assembly. So Assembly District 26 covers a lot of Santa Clara County. I represent 42% of the district now. It's Sunnyvale, Cupertino, Santa Clara, and parts of North and West San Jose.
Hey, that's pretty cool. If anybody gets a chance to go to any of her fundraisers and stuff, I will say one thing, Tara, you have the best food.
We do. We had Indo-Chinese. Our next fundraiser is going to have Nepalese food, so we come well prepared to feed our supporters and volunteers.
Well, get out there and support Tara. Thank you very much. I have one more special guest all day coming in. I got the former mayor of Sunnyvale, correct?
Yes, Julia Miller, and I'm currently elected to the El Camino Healthcare District.
You're a busy gal.
I am, and it's my pleasure to be here today to celebrate Memorial Day and those of us that are no longer with us. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for supporting this and coming to the event. And you look beautiful, all red, white, and blue. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here today and for your invaluable contributions in honoring our fallen heroes. Together, we remember and pay homage to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. We kindly ask that you stand for the posting of the colors and remain standing if you are able for the upcoming flyover, which will be followed by the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. The color guard is proudly provided by the United States Marines of Recruiting Station San Francisco, commanded by Major Chun Park and Sergeant Major Antonio Colon.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
At this time, I would like to invite Chief Warrant Officer 3, AJ Pasciuti, to the stage to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Warrant Officer 3, Pasciuti. Retire the colors. That exhilarating flyover was provided by the 129th Rescue Wing, California Air National Guard. It flew out of Moffett Field and was crewed by Lieutenant Colonel Tavis McDevitt, Captain Blake Donovan, Staff Sergeant Nick Schaefer, and Senior Airman Reese Williams. I would now like to invite Chaplain Renee Martin to the podium to provide our invocation.
I invite you to join me in welcoming the holy into this time and into this space. Come, Holy Spirit, come, you are welcome here. We are gathered together in remembrance of those who gave their life in defense of our nation. We remember those who gave their lives when this nation was being knit in the womb of rebellion. We remember those who gave their lives holding our governments accountable to how we care for humanity. We remember those who gave their lives in foreign lands in defense of the least of these. We remember those who gave their lives simply maintaining the systems of protection our nation requires in order to be a force for good in this world. So with the bodies, the hearts, the minds, and the souls with which you, God, have currently blessed the living, let us not just remember those names we have written in the books, but also the lives that we will never know. In partnership with their descendants, we gather here today in love to express our gratitude for those who have been called home by the ultimate sacrifice, to give one's life so that others may live. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be pleasing to you, our God, our strength, and our Redeemer. Amen.
It is my distinct pleasure and privilege to introduce Mr. Sean Elgie, the host of today's events. For more than 100 years, Oak Hill has been dedicated to honoring our fallen heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Elgie, the General Manager of Oak Hill Memorial Park and Funeral Home, will say a few words.
Welcome, each of you, to Oak Hill. I am Sean Elgie, the General Manager. Thank you so much, ever so much, for gathering with us today to commemorate this Memorial Day 2024. Today we remember and pay special tribute to the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, the United States of America. Their selflessness and courage are the very foundation of the freedom that we all enjoy. As we stand here together, let us acknowledge the families who have endured profound loss and recognize their incredible strength and their resilience. Today, let us honor these heroes, not just with our presence, but by keeping their memory alive in our hearts, and led by living the values that they so courageously fought to protect. Again, welcome to Oak Hill. Thank you for being here to remember those who gave all. Together, we ensure that their sacrifices are never forgotten. I thank you again.
Please join me in welcoming our esteemed elected officials and invite them up to the podium together so we may hear their heartfelt tribute.
Good morning. I am California State Senator Dave Cortese, and as always, I'm extremely honored and feel very, very privileged to be up here with our military veterans, those that are on the stage, and recognizing those military veterans, those Gold Star families, those Blue Star families that are here with us today. And it's a wonderful San Jose turnout. For over 200 years now, 2 centuries, since this became the first and the original democracy in the world, we have been through ups and downs, and we've had to fight every step of the way to preserve this democracy through the present moment. It didn't take long for that to start. Our third president, John Adams, openly worried, and you could read it in his memoirs, openly worried that under his watch, the democracy would be lost. It wasn't. What's always saved this democracy has been the participation of our citizenry, number one, people voting, casting their franchise in this democracy, but well beyond all that, the greatest currency of all, to pay the price of what it takes to keep this democracy going. The ultimate sacrifice that our military veterans and their families have paid. God bless America. God bless Dignity Memorial for keeping this tradition going every year. And God bless the 129th Rescue Wing for their great sacrifices as part of the Air National Guard and their distinguished history of valor, service, and commitment to saving lives both at home and abroad in times of peace and in combat. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Matt Mahan, Mayor of San Jose. I want to thank Oak Hill Memorial Park for hosting this solemn ceremony every year. Thank you, Senator Cortese, for your thoughtful reflections. Here today representing the city of San Jose, along with my colleagues, Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Dewan, Councilmember Candelas. We also have our former mayor, Sam Liccardo, here with us today. We want to express our deepest gratitude to all of the veterans in the audience here today and to our Gold Star and Blue Star families. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. We're here today to pay tribute to those servicemen and women who did not make it home, who sacrificed everything for their nation. May Memorial Day be an opportunity to not only recognize and honor those who gave everything for our nation, but to pass those values on to our children and grandchildren. As we do that, it's a great honor to be here today to recognize the 129th Air Rescue Wing. I want to thank Colonel Teal and Lieutenant Colonel Morgan for their service. They exemplify the very best of our nation, and every day serve with honor and dignity as they protect the vulnerable and take great risk to themselves to keep others safe. So once again, as we present this commendation to them, we want to thank them for their service, thank all of our veterans and your families. Wish you all a happy Memorial Day. Most importantly, God bless America.
Thank you again to all of our distinguished guests for joining us here today and for your unwavering support. Today it is my distinct honor to introduce a special guest who represents a nation with which we share a profound and evolving relationship. Once, Japan and the United States stood as fierce adversaries, locked in one of the most intense conflicts of the 20th century. However, through the passage of time and with a commitment to peace and mutual understanding, our nations have transformed this relationship into one of the strongest alliances in the world. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Hajime Kishimori, the Deputy Consul General of Japan. His presence here today is a testament to our enduring friendship and strategic partnerships between our two countries.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamie Kishimori, Deputy Consul General of Japan in San Francisco. I am deeply honored to participate in the San Jose Memorial Day ceremony to pay tribute to U.S. service members who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. On behalf of the government and people of Japan, I offer our eternal condolences to the souls who lost their lives in combat, as well as to the souls of the many innocent people who were victims of war. Japan and the United States suffered immense casualties and damage during the World War II. Despite countless tragedies, our countries looked toward brighter and shared future at the end of the war. Today, we affirm a global partnership that is stronger and deeper than at any time in history. Guided by shared values and principles, the Japan-US relationship is an inspiration to all nations committed to democracy and rule of law. We enjoy peace and prosperity today because of the enormous sacrifices made by those who came before us. I'd like to conclude my remarks by humbly remembering those who lost their lives, reminded that we must continue the hard work necessary that we ensure peace for future generations in our minutes. Thank you, and English.
It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Major Robert Adam Patterson, United States Marine Corps and CIA. Major Robert Adam Patterson has had a distinguished career marked by exceptional service and leadership. As an infantry officer in the United States Marine Corps, Major Robert Patterson demonstrated extraordinary skill and bravery. Recognized for his expertise, he was hand-selected to become an infantry officer instructor, tasked with training our future combat leaders. His exemplary performance caught the attention of the Central Intelligence Agency, where he was again hand-selected to run critical operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. For over a decade, Major Patterson played a pivotal role in some of the most challenging environments, ensuring the safety and security of countless lives. After retiring from the Marine Corps and the CIA Special Operations Group, Major Patterson transitioned to the private sector. He now applies his extensive experience in counterintelligence to protect a global tech company from threats that could severely impact our national security through the theft of trade secrets. We are honored to have Major Patterson here with us today, and we look forward to his insight and reflection on the importance of service, sacrifice, and vigilance in safeguarding our nation. Please join me in welcoming Major Robert Adam Patterson to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, thank you for the privilege to be here today on this Memorial Day. I am honored and humbled to be here on this somber day of remembrance, which is what Memorial Day should be, a day of remembrance and solemn reflection to honor those men and women who sacrificed everything. It is one day out of the year that we citizens and those privileged enough to be here pay homage to those who gave their lives for our freedom and for our way of life. For many Americans, this last Monday in May marks the unofficial start of summer, a long weekend with backyard barbecues, deals and bargains on mattresses and cars, and pool parties. Some may take the time to throw on Band of Brothers, Masters of the Air, or Saving Private Ryan. But for those who served in our military, their loved ones, our Gold Star families, and those of you gathered here today, Memorial Day takes on a much greater significance. As I mentioned, Americans spend this day in vastly different ways. This is, after all, the land of the free. But I'm happy to spend it here with you in solemn remembrance and reflection, to remember and honor the fallen, cherish their service, their sacrifice, and their memories. It is right and proper that we should take a moment to appreciate the awesome lives that we have been afforded by their sacrifice. Today, we remember, honor, and show our appreciation and gratitude to the more than 1 million men and women who have died so that this nation may persevere. Californians, the Bay Area, and our surrounding communities have always borne a large burden of our nation's fallen. Today is a day that all Americans should pause and honor those who died defending this great nation. Today is a day of grief, sadness, and pain.
But it should also be a day of celebration as we recount some of the courageous stories of their service and share those memories with our friends and family. To truly honor their lives, we must share their stories with others and ensure that their memories live on, even though that they are gone. We honor their sacrifice by remembering them, by not letting their names fade from our memories or disappear from our lips. No matter where their battlefield was, in the mountains of Afghanistan, the deserts of Iraq or Syria, skies over Europe, the islands of the Pacific, the frozen terrain of Korea, or the jungles of Vietnam, we remember. We remember these places, we know these battles. Al Anbar Province, Nasiriyah, Fallujah, Baghdad, Khost, Helmand, Kamdish, Khe Sanh, the Ai Drang Valley, Way City, Chosin Reservoir, Heartbreak Ridge, the Pusan Perimeter, D-Day, Hiroshima, the Battle of the Bulge, Sicily, Okinawa. We remember these battles, these places. We need to remember the fallen with such ease. The stories of the fallen matter and need to be told. We say their names. These are the names of some of my friends and colleagues. As I say their names, I hope that you will, to yourself or to your neighbor or to a loved one, say the name of someone who was special to you, who sacrificed all. Maybe the reason that you are here today. Darren Labonte, Tyler Swisher, Brian Latondre, Megan McClung, Doug Zembeck, John Maloney, Terry Ball, Nate Delmar, Brian Hoke, Frederick Picorni. We remember some of their stories. My own grandpa, Pat, a UC Berkeley class of 1941,
was commissioned a Marine Corps second lieutenant infantry officer and fought his way across the Pacific for many years before spending the last 6 months in hospital. My other grandpa, Cecil, no college, enlisted in the Army and fought in North Africa and across Europe until Germany finally surrendered. We remember Pat Tillman of San Jose, who gave up an NFL career worth millions of dollars because he felt the call to serve. Pat was killed in action in Afghanistan in 2004. We remember San Mateo native Paul Foster, who joined the Marine Corps Reserve in November of 1961. Called to active duty in November of 1966, he was immediately sent to Vietnam. During Operation Kingfisher, Sergeant Foster's unit came under attack by heavy indirect fire and an aggressive enemy ground assault. Wounded by an enemy grenade, Sergeant Foster continued to fight and directed devastating fire support on enemy forces. As the bitter fight continued, another enemy grenade landed in the midst of his position among him and his 5 companions. Sergeant Foster shouted a warning to his companions and unhesitantly placed his own body on the grenade, which mortally wounded him, and undoubtedly saved the lives of his comrades from death or injury. For his courage, heroism, and unfaltering devotion to duty, Sergeant Paul Foster was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. No matter what your ethnicity, your politics, your religious creed, your sexual orientation, America's fighting men and women have represented it. They've come from all over America, and some were not even citizens. They were rich, poor, educated, and volunteers, and drafted. The many drafted fought as valiantly and with the same honor, courage, and commitment as the most enthusiastic volunteer. Some were ordered by a court or saw it as their only way out of a bad situation at home. For others, it was their patriotic duty or family obligation. For others still, it is the Constitution and preserving this American democracy, this imperfect but noble experiment in democracy that we have the privilege to continue to practice today. We shouldn't take our freedom or our democracy for granted. So many of us that were born into the most democratic and free nation in the world either never learned or have forgotten the struggle of those born into tyranny or dictatorship. As Franklin D. Roosevelt said many years ago, those who have long enjoyed such privileges as we enjoy forget in time that men have died to win them. To honor these men and women by remembering them, by living our lives in a way that matters. Not perfect lives. There's no reason to hold ourselves to an unobtainable standard, one which they themselves did not hold themselves to. But a life worth living, to be better to ourselves, to our loved ones, and to our friends and community. To live a life that they did not get to live. While they were not perfect and we can't be perfect, we should hold ourselves to be better and think of them often. It is a very small percentage of our population who fights, and an even smaller percentage who sacrifices everything, who gives that last full measure so that we may live free. Live our lives as we wish. To protest or speak out against things that the men and women who fought may have disagreed with you to the very bitter end, yet fought and died to give you that precious gift. In closing, we take a moment to gather here and remember these were America's sons and daughters. These were our friends, our siblings, our moms and dads. These were not strangers or some unknown anonymous statistic. These were future doctors, teachers, firefighters, politicians, and nurses. After you leave here today, I hope that you will take a moment, a simple and intimate moment of silence for the loved ones, and cherish them. There are many who all that they have left is a last letter home, a picture in a frame, a special memento or keepsake to remind them of a loved one they can no longer hold. I would like to leave you today with words of a man I mentioned earlier. I think that these words are fitting on a day like today. These words come from Marine Officer Doug Zembeck. the Lion of Fallujah, who was killed during a raid on Sadr City while detailed to CIA's Special Activities Division. These are his words. Be a man of principle. Fight for what you believe in. Keep your word. Live with integrity. Be brave. Believe in something bigger than yourself. Serve your country. Teach. Mentor. Give something back to society. Lead from the front. Conquer your fears. Be a good friend. Be humble and self-confident. Appreciate your friends and family. Be a leader and not a follower. Be valorous on the field of battle and take responsibility for your actions. Never forget those that were killed, and never let rest those that killed them. Thank you for your time today. God bless America.
Get ready for the illustrious Air Force Band of the Golden West. One 150 years ago, General John A. Logan, the third Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of Republic, issued General Order Number 11, a pivotal document that recognized the importance of Memorial Day. In his order, General Logan proclaimed that the 30th day of May, 1868, would be dedicated to adorning the graves of our fallen comrades with flowers, a heartfelt gesture that would extend to every city, village, and churchyard across our great land. At Oak Hill Memorial Park, we proudly carry on this time-honored tradition, symbolizing our unwavering commitment to honoring the memory and sacrifice of those who have gone before us. Today, we gather to lay floral tributes, each wreath representing the brevity of their lives and the profound impact they had on our nation. The Gold Star Mother's Wreath. During World War I, a blue star was used to represent each person in the military service of the United States. As the war progressed and men were killed in combat, a gold star was superimposed upon the blue star to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. In 1928, the Gold Star Mothers were officially established from President Woodrow Wilson's approval of wearing a gold star on a black armband by American women for each family member who gave their life for the nation during World War I. The Medal of Honor wreath. The Medal of Honor is the highest military decoration awarded by the United States government, created during the Civil War in 1862. It is bestowed on a member of the United States Armed Forces for gallantry above and beyond the call of duty while engaged in action against an enemy of the United States. Since World War II, over 1,100 Medals of Honor have been awarded, with over 650 posthumously. Private Jacob Parrott received the first Medal of Honor in 1863 during the American Civil War, and Dr. Mary E. Walker is the only female recipient of the Medal of Honor. The Military Order of the Purple Heart wreath. The Purple Heart Award was originally instituted by George Washington in 1782 to reward troops for unusual gallantry and extraordinary fidelity in essential service during the Revolutionary War. The criteria for the award of the Purple Heart today is to anyone serving in the military who has received non-fatal or fatal combat-related injuries. prisoner of war and missing in action wreath. Since World War I, over 142,000 Americans were captured during wars of conflict, and over 125,000 prisoners of war have been repatriated. Unfortunately, 17,000 of these prisoners of war died while in captivity. The fate of 88,000 Americans listed as unaccounted for or missing in action since the First World War remains unknown. The Civil War wreath. The American Civil War resulted in over 1 million casualties, with over 750,000 Americans losing their lives on the battlefield. San Jose's Phil Sheraton Camp has been honoring their ancestors, many of whom are buried at Oak Hill Memorial Park, for the past 121 years on Memorial Day. Over 500 Union Civil War veterans are buried here, making it a fitting place to remember their sacrifice. The Spanish-American War wreath. The Spanish-American War took place between Spain and the United States from April to August of 1898, involving 260,000 Americans. The war ended with swift naval and military victories for the United States in Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. The number of Americans killed during the war was 3,289, with the addition of 260 soldiers killed in the sinking of battleship USS Maine in Havana, Cuba, which triggered the war, bringing the total to 3,549. Oak Hill also houses the graves of Spanish-American War veterans. The World War I wreath. World War I, also known as the Great War, was an international conflict that took place from 1914 to 1918, involving most of the nations of Europe, Russia, the United States, the Middle East, and other regions. The Central Powers, mainly Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey, faced the Allies, including France, Great Britain, Russia, Italy, Japan, and the United States from 1917 onwards. The war resulted in the defeat of the Central Powers, with 4.7 million Americans serving in the U.S. Armed Forces and 117,000 losing their lives. The World War II wreath. World War II, the Second World War, remains etched in history as one of the most significant and devastating conflicts to ever engulf the globe. From 1939 to 1945, this monumental struggle involved nearly every region of the world, with the Axis powers, including Germany, Italy, and Japan, pitted against the Allies, comprised of France, Great Britain, the United States, the Soviet Union, and China. World War II claimed a staggering number of lives. Estimates place the death toll between 40 and 50 million, forever leaving an indelible mark on humanity. Among the nations affected, the United States saw 16.4 million brave men and women answer the call to serve. Tragically, over 407,000 American service members paid the ultimate price, sacrificing their lives in defense of freedom and liberty. Together, today we honor the memory of those valiant souls who fought and fell during World War II. Their valor and selflessness serve as an enduring testament to the strength of the human spirit in times of adversity. As we lay this wreath, let us hold steadfast to the memory and ensure that their sacrifices are forever etched in our collective consciousness. May their noble deeds inspire us to strive for peace, unity, and a world free from the horrors of war. Thank you, brave heroes of World War II, for your service and sacrifice. We shall never forget your indomitable spirit and unwavering dedication to our nation. The Korean War Wreath. The Korean War, also known as the Forgotten War, claimed the lives of over 36,500 Americans between June of 1950 and July of 1953. The Korean War was a true testament to the unwavering commitment and sacrifice of our servicemen and women. In the face of unimaginable challenges, they displayed remarkable courage and resilience, fighting for the cause of freedom and defending the values we hold dear. As we lay this wreath in commemoration of their valor, let us ensure that their sacrifices are never forgotten. May this act of remembrance serve as a testament to the enduring gratitude we hold for those who so selflessly fought and gave their lives during the Korean War. The Vietnam War Wreath. American involvement in the war in Vietnam began in 1961 when special advisors were sent to South Vietnam. The official end of the Vietnam era was April 30th, 1975, when the last Americans left Saigon. During the 14-year conflict, 58,226 Americans died in the war or are listed as missing in action. Members of the Darwin J. Thomas Memorial Chapter 201 of the Vietnam Veterans of America honor the memory and sacrifices of those who served during the Vietnam War. The chapter is named after naval aviator Ensign Darwin J. Thomas from Santa Clara, who was shot down over North Vietnam in 1966 and whose remains have yet to be recovered. The Persian Gulf War Wreath. The Persian Gulf War was a significant conflict involving the United States that served as a cathartic event for the American military. Similar to the Spanish-American War, which provided the nation with a short, victorious war following the Civil War, the Gulf War helped the U.S. overcome the self-doubt and post-Vietnam malaise it had been experiencing. Between August of 1990 and March of 1991, approximately 430,000 Americans served during the Persian Gulf War, and 294 gave the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives. The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq wreath. The war in Afghanistan was the first major conflict of the 21st century and began as a response to the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the United States. It started on October 7, 2001, and led to the fall of Kabul on November 13, 2001. The war resulted in the tragic loss of over 2,400 American lives. On March 19, 2003, American and British forces initiated Operation Iraqi Freedom, which has also been referred to as Gulf War II, or the Second Iraq War. The conflict resulted in the loss of approximately 4,500 lives lost in combat. The Succumb to Invisible Wounds Wreath. I would like to take a moment to shed light on a deeply troubling issue that affects our veteran community. It is with a heavy heart that we acknowledge the 22 veterans who tragically lose their lives to suicide every day. Today, as we place this wreath of remembrance, it is imperative that we also recognize those who have succumbed to the invisible wounds of war. This wreath, aptly named Succumb to Invisible Wounds, serves as a poignant reminder of the emotional and mental struggles our veterans face long after their service has ended. While we pay tribute to the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice on the battlefield, let us also remember those who continue to battle silently within themselves. Together, let us strive to raise awareness, offer support, and break the stigma surrounding mental health, ensuring that no veteran ever feels alone or forgotten. May this wreath stand as a symbol of our unwavering commitment to combating this heartbreaking epidemic and fostering a community that embraces and uplifts our veterans in their darkest hours. The Unity and Sacrifice Wreath. Ladies and gentlemen, today we introduce the Unity and Sacrifice Wreath, a powerful symbol of honor and remembrance. Among those we honor are the valiant women who defied convention and served with unwavering courage in units like the Women's Army Corps, the Women Air Force Service Pilots, and the Army Nurse Corps. Their dedication and sacrifice paved the way for future generations of servicewomen, and this wreath stands as a tribute to their indomitable spirit. Additionally, we pay homage to the families of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team and the 100th Infantry Battalion, who were comprised largely of Japanese American soldiers. These brave men, along with the legendary Tuskegee Airmen and Montford Point Marines, fought not only against the enemy overseas, but also against prejudice and discrimination at home. Their remarkable valor and resilience are woven into the very fabric of this wreath, serving as a poignant reminder of their enduring legacy of service and sacrifice. The Memorial Day Tribute Wreath. General John A. Logan, the 3rd Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, published General Order No. 11 in 1868, designating May 30th as a day to honor the sacrifices of soldiers and sailors who died defending their country during the Civil War. Around 1900, May 30th was officially recognized as Decoration Day, a day to remember and pay tribute to all those who gave their lives in the defense of their country in all wars. Following World War II, Decoration Day became Memorial Day, and in 1971, the National Holiday Act set it as the last Monday in May. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We will now honor our fallen heroes with a memorial music selection performed by the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Pipes and Drums. Please stand and place your hand over your heart for the honors by the Rifle Squad, performed by the United States Marines of the 23rd Marine Regiment, headquartered in San Bruno, California, followed by the playing of taps, performed by the Air Force Band of the Golden West. Let us now invite Staff Sergeant Brian Juergens, United States Army retired, to raise the flag and pay tribute to the red, white, and blue. Thank you, Sergeant Juergens. I would now like to invite Chaplain Renee Martin back to the podium to lead us in the benediction.
We remember. We remember. We remember. Thank you for giving of your time and of your body in order to honor those who gave of their time and their bodies so that we may live. Accept this invitation and this affirmation as you are sent in this benediction inspired by Saint Teresa de Avila. You are the embodiment of God's love. God has no eyes, no ears, no heart, no arms, no hands, but yours. As we leave here, after having been nurtured in both the joy and grief of remembrance, remember to see one another. Remember to hug one another. Remember to love one another in honor of that ultimate sacrifice. Go in prayer. Go in love. Go in action. Amen.
Please join us now, the voice of San Jose, Miss Angela Toredo.
Please join me. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, our home, sweet home. God bless America, our home, sweet home.
There's so many people to thank to put on this whole production, especially, of course, Oak Hill Dignity. James Brown's been leading the team of all the volunteers that helped put all this together. And I want to thank you for watching the show and participating in what Memorial Day really is all about. God bless you. Enjoy life.